Curtis. Morning, viewers. It's Rob Atfield reporting for Port Carling Boats. It's Saturday, April the 25th, 2015, and we're at the Antique and Classic Boat Society Spring Tour in Muskoka, Ontario. We just had a glimpse of Curtis Hillman. We're at Curtis's shop, and Curtis is working on, and has been working on, this beautiful old J.J. Taylor long deck launch for the better part of a year or more, I think now.
Yeah, about a year.
About a year. And Curtis tells me they're waiting for a new engine, and once that engine has been installed, the boat can be taken in for water to test the water line. Certainly looks beautiful and very different from what it looked like a year ago.
I think you had video of it last year.
Yes, I think I did. And I believe that this not used by a lumber camp at some point. Yes.
Yeah.
And Curtis thinks it might even be Haldina 3, but I presume they're checking records to see if that might be a possibility. How many coats of varnish, Curtis, on this one?
About 9, I believe.
Okay.
I lose track.
Yeah. It's certainly looking beautiful. Curtis has just finished a major restoration on this Chris Craft. I think it's a Sportsman, about 22-footer, 1950s. Curtis tells me a new bottom is put on it, and presumably some new frames as well, and so on. Looks like brand new upholstery. It's glistening. Simple but elegant dash. I love these grates in the floor because they really allow for better circulation in the bilge. And experts keep telling me that proper aeration really reduces dry rot. This is a bit like the boat on Golden Pond, unless I'm mistaken. Wump 2. Beautiful boat. Our second stop on the tour this morning, viewers, is at Brackley Boats in Gravenhurst, Ontario. Let's see what Paul's got cooking. Viewers, the boat we're looking at here is a 1928 Robinson Seagull commuter. It's had quite a storied history. At one point, it belonged to Al Capone, apparently. Built in 1928 and shipped down to Florida, I believe, Jacksonville. And it's been to Lake Michigan, and it's been through a series of owners. The shot below shows you the restorative work that's been done on it. It's in Paul's shop now. And let's take a look. Pretty massive boat. Hard top, of course. Wow. Beautiful finish. Apparently this boat caught a lot of attention because most covered cruiser of the period were painted white on the exterior. This is solid mahogany by the look of it. And quite a substantial deck at the back, which we'll try and show you as well. Viewers, Paul was telling me that the boat was originally built for Ransom Olds, and as we mentioned earlier, was at some point sold to Al Capone. And it was seized by the IRS in the United States in 1933. Flying Cloud. It's in at Paul's shop for some interior work, and Paul tells me it could use a coat of exterior varnish, but they may not get to that this year. They're doing some configuration on the interior of the boat, a new decking and so on. Quite the history. The other huge boat in Paul's shop, viewers, is this 33-foot Hacker Craft. In for also some interior work. This boat apparently is powered by it's been repowered with twin Chevy engines. I think Paul said 327s. Great boat for entertaining.
That's right.
Entertaining and eating. I'm sure some of you will recognize this scene, viewers. It's a repeat performance. We're here at Mike Windsor's shop in Gravenhurst. Let's see what Mike's working on. We're about to take a look at Norwood III, viewers. Norwood III is a 34-foot launch built for W.L. Klaus of Pittsburgh in 1925 by Minette Shields. It says somewhere in her history the deck seams were raked out to an excessive 1/4 inch width. The only way to rectify this was to replacement of the decking. The covering boards and hatches were saved, and the decking was edge-nailed, meaning that the only way to remove it was to cut the deck off in panels between the carlings. It really is a point of commitment to take a saw and cut the first hole in a varnished mahogany deck. Let's take a look at Norwood III. Very graceful. Narrow beam, long deck launch.
Yeah. It was nice to have a seat, so I could go to the day and have a walk around and just wait on me.
What's this, the knee or feet?
Once again, we have that great grating that provides such good ventilation. Room for a couple of wicker chairs between the front and the back seating. This really is a long deck. My goodness, there must be 15 feet of deck on this boat.
Yes, it is.
Oh, this is the one from up the way.
This is the bird bags. They're all nice.
This boat gives new meaning to long deck launch. My goodness. That's certainly going to attract the attention of the neighbors as you cruise down the lake. Viewers, we're looking here at Cuda II. She's a 1927 Minette Shields runabout built for W.J. Craig of Pickerel Island in Lake Joseph. Sold about 1938 to 40 to Scudder Winslow of St. Helens Island in Lake Joseph. The original six-cylinder Scripps engine was removed in 1956 and used in a sawmill. Work this winter consisted of replacing the bottom of Cuda II, as well as installing a new engine to replace the previous replacement engine. Interesting rudder configuration here. Huge worm gear. Beautiful rear windshield for the stern cockpit. Massive new engine for this boat. One wonders whether an engine this size is really necessary for a displacement hull. No doubt that will really shoot through the water. Traditional steering mounted throttle once again. And a clock. Presumably some of the instrumentation is not in. Actually, we can see that it's not in because there's the replacement instrumentation ready to be installed. Beautiful boat. We're about to take a look at Bindi, viewers. Bindi is a boat that's been in Michael's shop for several years now, and I know Michael continues to work on it as time permits. So she's a 1916 Minette 26-footer that began life on the north shore of Lake Rosso near Skeleton Bay. In the 1940s, she was severely damaged by fire. She sank at the bow, preserving the shape of the first 8 feet, but the majority of the hull burned to the waterline. Norm Strip of Windermere rebuilt the charred remains into a serviceable runabout and repowered her with a flathead Ford V8. Mike says, I came into possession of Bimby a few years ago, and after doing considerable examination and measurements from similar early Minette launches Hilo, Ardmore, and Marie, I determined that Bimby was built to the same lines and gathered enough information and data to reconstruct the hull to the correct shape that had been lost in the fire. Most of the hardware was also created. And here she is. In all her restored glory. Beautiful finish coat. One can only imagine how difficult it is to recreate this curved wood up to the windshield.
And the accuracy is so much.
Classic instrumentation once again.
Exactly. No, I get it. It's
Beautiful. Once again, that great grading. Typical of launches of the period. Let's check out our engine plant and see what Michael has installed here, or is about to install. Six-cylinder flathead, completely restored by the look of it. Beautiful boat. One of our previous videos featured Bimby viewers, and I think I pointed out at the time the intricate woodwork that's required to create this kind of a tight fit into the bow stem.